You know, the cranes just move back and forth, and they're carrying stuff, and it doesn't look like they're doing anything. And the next thing you know, they're assembling the pieces and the steel, particularly at the North Memorial. The steel at the top, at the leftmost top, that bare structural elements, that went up very quickly. That went up in the last couple of days, and in a few more days they'll put the steel flooring down, and as these things go by, as days go by, little by little, the goal now is to complete it by September 11th, 2011, which will be the 10th anniversary. But it seems at the rate that they're going, you know, conceivably, it looks like they're making such good progress. They really push. Maybe they get it finished ahead of schedule. Who knows?
I want to get this.
Hey, get up on the chair. Get up on the chair. Oh, the pad train. Now, you won't be able to see the pad train leaving on the other side because it goes underneath all the construction at the north end. But yeah, you can catch it.
We should be able to see it down here.
Yeah, you'll be able to catch it coming into the actual pad station. It looks like a little train set from up here. And obviously, they're building all the structure on top. You know, that's understructure for the entire. That's great. That's good footage.
There it is.
That's the Newark train. It looks like it's going in on the westernmost tracks of the station. There's 4 sets, 2 for Newark and 2 going to Hoboken.
Inner track.
It's slightly, yeah, but you know what? At this time of the day, they're not going to use the outermost track because they'll use the two innermost ones. They only use all 4 tracks during like during the commuting hours. You know what's incredible too? If you take a little footage of if you notice the concrete wall, they built the bathtub walls out of concrete when they were putting those huge cages into the ground. But if you look at the wall along the west side of the bathtub, that's all steel and pilings. It's not a concrete wall. And interestingly enough, just behind it, the number 1 train still runs along underneath that. That would be a trip worth taking, to take the number 1 train. You catch it up at the next stop, which I think is like Franklin Street, and you take the number 1 train down, and it'll bring you right through underneath all of that construction. Just like the PATH train runs through, the number 1 train runs through the site along there. But that portion of the wall is made out of mostly metal because it's not holding up any dirt. It's a construction wall. It's not a containment wall. So they're able to build the wall a little bit differently than they would the containment wall. Oh, here comes another train. Hey, check it out. Now they're really coming in. I want to get on one of them.
Right now.
I want to get
heading outbound. Well, maybe the outbounds go on that outer track, if that is an outer track that we're looking at.
Yeah, no, that's a used track. But you know, they only, depending on where the trains are, how many trains are in the station. Yeah, that's a little bit of a day. I came in on a different track. The original World Trade Center PATH station had 6 tracks. There's going to they'll probably replace it. They'll probably put 6 tracks there. Or at least 5. There was at least 5 for the original World Trade Center. It's definitely going to be 5 in the new one. Workers running around out there. You know, there's a couple of guys just putting stuff. There's a few guys down there working at the bottom of the crane over there. The guys. But other than that, you don't see a whole ton of people crawling around actually building the darn thing.
It's amazing. Maybe they work at night?
They work around the clock. Yeah, you know what? I think that's it too. I guess they are. They're working around the clock. But you can tell how many cranes. I mean, just look at that one side of the site. There's 3 telescoping cranes. There's 2 tower cranes. There's another mid-sized yellow crane. There's a telescoping crane next to that. There's these 2 huge red cranes. Then That's just on that side. Then along the bottom, along this part here, there's a huge telescoping crane with an extension piece on top, right there. That one, look at that crane is at its maximum height, building the overstructure of the patch station. Then there's another telescoping crane, and then there's another telescoping crane further up. So altogether on the site, there's got to be about a good 10 or 15 cranes, and 6 of them are really, really big cranes. 2 tower cranes, 2 of those the 2 red cranes, that yellow crane, and this baby, building Tower 4, which is like a really high crane. That's like a 280-foot crane. We're about 330 feet right here. That crane that crane has to be about 280 feet or 270 feet.
This one down here.
Yeah, that's a high crane.
I'm looking at the Freedom Tower crane. Isn't one of them is operating right now?
Yeah, and if you notice at if you notice at the foot of the Freedom Tower, there's a kind of an upside down Y-shaped beam there, kind of a puzzling looking, it's an odd shaped, probably some sort of I don't know if that's necessarily a structural element of the actual Freedom Tower. The Freedom Tower looks as if it's going to be defined by the columns that are surrounding the core, but the columns don't run along the east side. So it's hard to define what the east side of the Freedom Tower is going to be. Presumably, the couple of columns that we can see just at the base of the bridge going up over West Street, those couple of columns down there in the shadows, those columns may define the northernmost boundary, the northern edge of the Freedom Tower, I think. But that upside-down Y steel element, who knows what that is. There's always some funny elements that pop up here and there. But so far as the actual steel on the tower, if they keep going at that pace in another month, it'll be twice as high as that.
When is the Goldman Sachs building going to be finished?
I think it's supposed to be occupied by year-end 2010, but that seems kind of far off too. Here we are at the beginning of 2009. That building is once they finish out the exterior curtain wall of the building, for all intents and purposes, it's an interior decorating job, and how long does that take? But the amazing thing is the presence of the old New York Telephone building. It's a gorgeous building, that stone building. It's beautiful, and it doesn't look out of place, and it doesn't look over-dominated by the towers next to it, the glass and steel modern towers. That building still has such beautiful classic lines that you can't overpower it. Even when it's next to the Freedom Tower, you won't be able to. It's such a beautifully classic building, an old New York Telephone building. And if you go further north, that tower used to be the Solomon Smith Barney Tower. That tower has classic elements too. Because it has a stone facade, more stone than glass and steel, except for the atrium on the right-hand side. But that's now Citigroup. Citigroup owns that building. Obviously, when they took over Solomon Smith Barney and Travelers, and maybe they should put the New York Mets logo on top of that building, because Citigroup is putting their logo on top of the Shea Stadium, or the Mets Citi Field.
What about the red balloons? The red balloons look good in the sun, right?
Remember that? That was almost 3 years ago.
Wow.
I've been here now almost 3 years. I'll be in this particular location for 3 years in April. So the building opened in did it open in May of 05? Well, no, pardon me, May of 06.
06.
So yeah, the 7 World Trade Centers now been open for nearly 3 years.